Hello, all. Welcome back to the To Be podcast. This is episode 9, and I'm joined by a friend of a friend,
You
Sarah. Hello, Sarah. How are
could
you?
call me a new friend.
New friend, new friend.
New
How are
friend.
you?
That's so good.
How are you? Doing good?
Oh, sorry. I'm good. I'm good. I am pretty warm today. It's a hot day, but we actually managed to get to the beach, to the creek this morning for a swim. So I can't say I'm bad if I've managed to do that in a day.
Awesome, awesome. Now this is our first time connecting, through another friend of mine, Phil Hedges, which is a good brother. Um, and I always say to people that I speak to that I meet for the first time, like let it flow. Like whatever happens today, like it's just we'll have a cool conversation and bit of insights into what you're doing in your life at the moment and where you come from. So love to know like what inspired you to jump on today to be a guest.
Yeah, I'm kind of new to all of this sharing your thoughts. I mean, we've always shared our thoughts, but maybe in a bit more of a censored way. Um, but I think what helped me want to share today or talk to you today was I'm really trying to get my message out there, the message that I've kind of recently discovered. And this was seemed like a golden opportunity to be able to talk about it. So that's really good. That was kind of my take of what I'm doing today.
Awesome. What is that message you want to share?
Well, this year, what is it, 2023? I'm newly in my 30s. I think I can still say that I'm 32. Uh, and far out, it's way better than being in your 20s. I just want to say that. Um, and yeah, earlier this year, I had what some will probably call a quarter life crisis, what I like to call a penny drop and a epiphany. Um, and it felt like nirvana to me. It felt like I'd arrived in nirvana. And it was this amazing moment of weight being lifted off me when I realized I could stop caring what other people thought about me. And I
Really?
don't know about you. Well, you're doing something courageous, starting your own podcast, so I'm sure you've crossed this bridge as well. Uh, but that journey of realizing you don't actually have to worry so much about what other people think of you
Man.
is, oh, it's awesome. And I'm not going to say I'm perfect at it yet, but I think I just want to talk about it more because the I don't know if it's joy, but like it's like it felt like nirvana. It felt like total bliss that I felt from the release of tension, I guess, or the release of pressure that I put on myself. Just feels like something everybody should be able to have. And
Yeah.
it's so simple. Like, we're always talking about we can create our own future and we're in
Yeah. Mhm.
control of our own destiny and all of that. And I totally get all that. But I think a lot of us hold ourselves back because we still think we have to be a certain way.
Certain way to other people.
I mean, pardon?
Certain way to other people. When in reality,
Yeah.
we need to be ourselves, and that's a lesson I learned many years ago. Is just to not care about what other people think, because at the end of the day, they're going to have their opinions about what you do, no matter what you do, whether it's good, bad, negative, or in between. It's just a
And what's that? It's just a
a joke.
yeah, and not only that, but if you take it even a step higher than that, they're probably not even thinking about you.
No,
You know what I
they
mean?
just see you. You think that's what they think about you, but in reality, that's what you think about yourself internally. So when you see other people thinking about you, so you think that they think about you.
It's fucked. And the 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 fucked part about it is, and the reason I arrived at this nirvana moment, it wasn't just like I just stumbled upon it, like I was doing the work, right? And the thing that came up for me was I was going through, have you ever done an exercise where you consciously try to define your values?
Oh yeah, I've literally recently I've had this thing come up in my life that I'm like values this values. Then I've recently done an episode, not a consciously done my values, but now I've done it unconsciously. But I've tried to do it consciously, but it wasn't my values.
Right. How do you mean? Like it, oh, so it wasn't
I,
specifically your values, but it
yeah,
was like
what I
one
thought
thing.
my value wasn't my values. I did an exercise at a personal development event where there was questions being asked, and literally my unconscious would bring up to my conscious what they were within a second. And then I've got my values down pat to the top three, and it's completely different to what I thought they were. But I knew how the essence of it within myself. Like I knew there was some
Yeah.
part to put it in a cluster and a form was very powerful.
Oh, yeah. And it's a bit like it's self-reflection, but it's also it to me it shifted how I looked at the whole world. And
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that how I looked at the world and how I looked at how I fit into the world impacted so much on my self-worth.
Mm.
And the reason I guess I stepped through all of these thought processes was because I was really struggling in the dating world. And then the more I tried, I kind of felt worse and worse about myself. And I got to this point where I was dating someone last year that like you just look back, isn't hindsight a bitch? When you look back and just think about how differently you would do things now.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself like this doesn't feel aligned with me at all, but you don't see it in those words, you just kind of feel ick. So anyway, the point I was getting onto was when I went through this exercise of looking into my values, I realized how much of myself I was judging. I was judging myself based on what I thought other people wanted me to be. And it's not like I even asked these people what I thought they wanted me to be, or prioritize people in my life who liked the version of me that I already am.
Yeah.
Instead, I went about trying to be this version of myself that I thought other people wanted me to be that I didn't even like being. And I tried to summarize it last week. You know how it is always trying to make content. And I was like, oh, and I feel like I kind of nailed it. I said, I always thought I had to be skinnier and busier than I wanted to be, and I didn't like the life that came with being skinny or busy. So I was
Mhm.
like miserable and also not the person that I thought I should be. So it's like terrible both ways.
Yeah, it's fascinating that we grow up as go through our childhood and we have to be someone because someone said we should be that person, when in essence that's their projection of what they want you to be.
Mm,
When we get to decide, when you have the realization like you've had, when you awake, as per se, you're like, oh fuck, my
yeah.
whole life. And it's like, shit, those were those people's perceptions of me. They were judging me because they wanted something that they couldn't have, or they saw something in me that they wanted. For example, the context is I'm the oldest of five children.
Oh
So
wow.
my father and my mother, I love them so dearly. My father and mother, my father wanted me to be a father at his when I was by the time I was 26, I'm now 30.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for children. Like I was like, I didn't want to be that. Whereas now he wanted me to do now I'm like I'm wanting that family now. So
Yeah. But do it in your own
his,
time,
his
eh?
projection his projection of me when I was younger was always put on me, whereas that's what they wanted of me, and they wanted me to do this thing. My mother wanted me to go to university, go to school, which I did do to the point now where I'm like, I know where I'm going in my life now. but it's like I want to create something for me, not for them.
That's it.
And that's the
Because
biggest
then it feels truly yours, like your life's truly yours.
exactly. And once you can step away from any society or conditioning or even family, it's truly magical because I was always the older brother that I still am. Like I still support my brothers when they need to, but I was always looking out for them.
Mm,
In reality, I hadn't looked out for my own life, and I was,
right. So you became really external, like focusing on what others needed and
yeah, I wasn't
yeah.
focusing on myself. I've focused on myself in some aspects, but not to the point where I've always worried about what other people would say about me if I did this or did that. And the moment I said I'm focusing on me, things just shifted.
Oh,
Like
that's so it.
my family knows I'm going to be there, but on my terms.
Yes. And then you're truly there
Then
rather than being there
present.
through,
I'm present with,
yeah.
and it's quite powerful because now it's like they still there's still aspects of their communication with me that like they think I should tell my other siblings that they should come to this when it's like no, I make my decision to go to there. You've got to tell them. I can't be telling them all the time. I've got my own life.
Mm,
When
you're
when
not
you
there, yeah.
yeah, you've got to set the boundaries. You've got to communicate with them. Otherwise, they're not going to know. And that was a massive
Yeah.
lesson. And I'm learning that now. So your realization, your message, it's so powerful because there's so many women, especially, and even men that are in the day and age that they're going through the daily stuff in their life when they don't realize that that could be someone else's life they're living, not their own life.
Yeah, or what they think they need to be accepted, to be loved, or even just to feel worthy. Like I didn't feel worthy of being with someone who cared about me if I wasn't a certain way, which just blows my mind now. Like, of course, I'm worthy of having people in my life who care about me. I already did, but I didn't see it that way. I always felt like bad about it. It's interesting that you say how your parents impact what you believe you should be, because I think a lot of people end up rebelling against that pretty early on, and then have to come around and realize that they actually do align with some of their parents' values, or their parents, didn't have it all wrong. It's funny when you talk about kids, because I, for years, just didn't want kids at all. And I've only recently kind of come into my own. I'm like, oh, I get it now. Which is almost, or would you say the opposite of your situation, or?
It's not, I mean, I always wanted a family, but I think I was just pushing, like I was to the point where I didn't want it at that stage because I wasn't ready. Whereas now
Yeah,
it's like I know my values, like I'm really sold on my values now. So it's something that I do want to create. But
yeah,
also I understand that my parents are only teaching what they know.
yes,
They've only ever been taught what they know. So now I've learned so much about just human behavior, psychology, doing all this personal development stuff that I now can see them for who they are as individuals, as humans, not my parents.
yeah, yeah.
They've been brought up in a different society, whereas what I'm creating in my life is to shift that, to shift a new way of thinking and being,
That's it.
help the
Yeah, I
future.
saw something the other week that was like, um, first we idolize our parents, then we demonize our parents, and then we humanize our parents. And you're in that stage now. And I think I definitely did the same thing probably five or so years ago. And it's again probably another weight off your shoulders of uh judgment, because sometimes judgment that we do is makes us feel just as yuck as judgment as we feel.
Mm, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, we only perceive our own judgment. So if we feel like we're being judged, if someone says something to us and we get triggered by it, that means it's a wound we haven't healed within ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're allowed to express the way we express. We shouldn't be demonized. We shouldn't be put down for it, which is something I've learned my whole life. I've
How do
had
you mean? So like how you express yourself?
yeah, how you express yourself. If you express yourself in a certain way, someone doesn't like it. That's not on you to feel like they don't like you. That's on them to work out what the lesson is for them, what the trigger is, what are they, how is that triggering them? Why is it triggering them? There's a lesson in that. Because being demonized or being bullied or being pushed around for what you say is only those people that had to get triggered by it.
A reflection of them. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
true.
But
I would even go a step. Sorry, was that?
for example, like if you say something that potentially may not come across nice, but someone takes it the wrong way and they say something back and they react, that's a trigger point because they're reacting to it.
Yeah, it's triggered
Love
them.
reacting. Whereas if you don't react to it, they're like, oh, why didn't you react to that question or that statement? You don't have to react.
That's true. You can stop the cycle.
Yeah, exactly. The moment you react, they've won.
Mm,
The moment you just sit there and like, oh, okay,
just let it.
let it just
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, because people are allowed to be annoyed. Doesn't have to be about you.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we only project what we feel about ourselves. Our thoughts we say to ourselves, we project that externally, and it creates our world around us. Creates
What do
our
they say? Your perception is your reality.
yeah, what you say, how you think, what you say, how you behave is what you're going to project external. How you feel internally, what you're going to project. So if you think negative things all the time, well, then you're going to project it externally. Your life's going to suck.
Mm,
Your life's going to be shit. Whereas if you project positive things, you listen to positive things, you do things that give you joy, that give you happiness, you're going to
mm.
every asset of your life.
Yeah, I get you. I think that plays a lot into the dating world as well, uh,
Cool.
because it's so easy to. I don't know. Do you date? Are you dating now?
I'm
What's your?
I'm it's funny how we jump on right at the moment where I need to be where I have to guests like yourself jump on because at the moment I'm in this process of getting back out in the dating scene. I sort of have these
Yeah,
it's like I've never been in a relationship myself. Um, but it's like the moment I date, now I'm so comfortable in my skin, it's like I'm just gonna let it happen and still do little action steps, but I'm
love
wanting
that.
to put myself out there more. But the more I don't want to put myself there too much because that means that the universe is gonna repel that. It's going to resist to it. I just want to keep doing my
Mhm.
thing. Otherwise, I'm chasing something that I want when in reality, the universe will resist me from that. As long as I just be myself, do my thing, and let it happen, but still do those little steps to get out of the dating scene. Put myself out there more. I don't put myself out there enough.
I get you. It's funny you talk about the universe and energy, and that's all very new to me in the last year or so. And I'm trying to, because I feel like the turning point for me where things started to flow in that part of my life happened when I call it, I didn't give up, I stopped trying, and there's such a big difference.
Mhm.
But I'm still trying to put into words how not chasing something is a positive, because so the when we talked about values and when we talked about our parents' impressions on us, the things that come up for me are around femininity and around productivity, and they were things in my upbringing where I kind of had this belief or this thought that being feminine was not less than, but it was not necessarily um it was almost inferior. Like, not, I always believed that, and I wanted to show that being a female was not inferior, but it meant leaning into my masculine, being productive, getting things done, and chasing what you want. And then I had to learn this hard lesson of, well, that's not actually how feminine energy works, and it's doing me a disservice by chasing. And I'm interested to hear your take on this, because you have probably more exposure than me when we talk about energy and the universe and how all of that plays out. Where does that line between being productive and getting things done and then letting go and letting the universe play its part? Where is that line? Because I'm always so scared of stopping trying means I won't be taking control of my life and making sure things get done. And I think that's that critical piece, is trying to be in control is the problem. Like it's not a problem to try, but it's a problem to try and be in control. Do you know what you get what I'm saying? Like
I'm letting you just
ramble.
because the thing is, there's two different things I would suggest. So the
Yeah.
first is to let go of the control.
Yeah, that's huge.
First, the universe is always guiding us. Whoever's listening, watching this, you can either call it God, source, universe, whatever you. If you believe in a spirit, in a higher source, well then believe. And if you don't, that is okay as well. But
Mm,
let go of the control.
mm.
We're always wanting control, and that's masculine. And even sometimes,
Yeah, that's what I had
and
to step out of, which was really hard for me to step out of.
and the next thing would be intention, the purpose. What is the intention of being
Mm,
productive? For what purpose are you being productive? Is it a task that's gonna Is it a task that's going to help you move the needle forward? Is it a task that not? I always like to call it's the Pareto principle. And if you know what the Pareto principle is, it's 80-20. So what are the action steps you can do that's going to give you 80%, that's going to take 20% of the effort, but going to give you 80% of the return?
yeah, yeah. Work
And
smarter, not harder.
it works. And that's that old saying. It's like, work hard, do this. And like, I've been there, I've done that.
The
My current
grind.
job, where I'm at with my coaching, it's like, it's now I'm working smarter. Not harder. I'm working smarter now because I've burnt myself out to a crisp.
Mm,
It's cost me my health. It's cost me my relationship with my family, and now I'm building that back up again.
yeah,
It's not worth it at the end of the day. It's not worth happiness.
I
So
get you.
the two main points. So releasing, letting go of control,
Mm,
tension for why you're doing what you're doing, whatever task you're doing, in every single moment you're in, why are you doing it? Like there's got to be a purpose. There's a purpose to every. Some people believe in purpose. Like there's a purpose to everything. I myself personally, I believe there's a purpose to doing things. Like there's a reason why we're put on this earth. And once you uncover that reason, life just becomes beautiful. And if you haven't uncovered that reason, well, you've got to do some soul searching. Because it only
mm.
comes from there.
Yeah, I disagree with what you've just said.
Okay.
But but,
I'm
but um in that I don't know if some people do find their purpose, but I think sometimes we just have to make one up. We just have to
Sometimes may not have
decide.
it. Sometimes maybe you just maybe work on a job, you love doing it. That's completely fine.
I mean, that could still be your purpose, right? If you want to play your part in your community. I guess for me, because I've been through a few cycles of finding my purpose, because I moved down to Sydney and um I really had this shift from like being career minded to having life balance, going swimming in the creek every morning instead of starting early. And I had to decide what my purpose was again, because I felt really lost that I didn't have a purpose.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't think you talked about soul searching, right? So we probably are thinking the same thing. We're just saying it a different way. Um, when we talk about like finding your purpose, and then feel like you've got to create it, like you have to
Yeah.
create it and then decide. And I'm going through that same piece with relationships, right? Like you have to create the relationship you want, and then you have to commit to it in a way that's deciding this is what you want. And I think that's what's really hard about the modern world, is we have all these options. We don't really want to decide. We want to kind of stay on the fence. And I think around finding your purpose, it's more of choosing one thing and turning off the others. Like the a previous relationship I tried to have, they had the person I was dating had issues with commitment, and I tried to talk to them about how commitment was a good thing, because although it shuts off your options for other things, it means you get to double down or triple down on the one that's in front of you. And look, we're probably saying the same thing, because as you say, soul searching, I think that's how you end up arriving at, no, I do want to double down on this thing. But I
Yeah.
don't think it's something you discover. I think it's something you have to actually choose.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because I could sit here and be like, oh, fuck, I just tried skateboarding today and it was sick. I'm just going to do that now. But like, I have to actually choose, no, I know it's not as glamorous today to go into your room and write in a book, but you need to choose it. Do you know what I mean?
You get you. Yeah. We all get. It's yeah. Everything we do is by choice. You can decide
Yeah.
to go skateboarding. You can decide to work on your purpose. You can decide to jump on this podcast. You get a choice. It's up to you to make that choice. There's no right or wrong way, but I mean, soul searching and purpose, like there's always a purpose to everything we do, whether it's the smallest things. It's just, if you believe in it, well, then you believe in it. If you don't, you don't. So you've got to uncover that. And I guess you do that through your own life journey. Like everyone's on their own journey in life. So unless you
Mm-hmm.
go through those phases in life, you're not going to know. Like many people I speak to are in their own phases of life, and it is perfect for them at that moment until they get to that point in life where they're like, oh, shit, I need to either make a change in my life, or I need to really, my life sucks right now. Like, what can I do that's going to help me? That's a choice. That's a decision they're making
Yeah.
to
Get
decide.
yourself out of the hole.
Yeah, because you can only help yourself. You're gonna people
That's
around
it.
you support you, but unless you actually come to that awareness, you're only gonna be able to help yourself. And that's the first step, helping yourself by asking for help.
Do you have any chapters of your life or parts of your life, but you talked about going through the journey. Do you have any that you miss or you wish you were back there?
You, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Right.
I'll keep this very brief because I know that we're the time that we both got. But one thing I miss is actually spending the time with my friend that I lost
Right.
suddenly, and
Yeah.
spending time and just appreciating the moments I got to spend with him, because he showed me the love I didn't see in myself. Now I see it in myself. Like in the past, I didn't see it. Now I see it. So now if I could go back in time, I definitely would have spent more time on doing fun things, doing just obnoxious things. We are like even more crazier things. But I I thank him. He's always in my heart. I know he's always watching me. He's always guiding me. And he's one of my spirit guides, always ever going, looking at me and watching, making sure I'm on the right path.
I feel that. No, thank you for sharing that, because I can tell it's still surface deep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very deep. That's how I started this healing journey. Through
Yeah, right.
yeah, that's how I met people, like meet people like yourself, Phil, and other people in my life. My life's never been much more deeper connection than I have in my whole life.
That's so good. It's like you don't have that connection with that friend anymore, but because of that, it's spurred on all of these other connections in this direction for you. So,
And I have a much more deeper connection than I ever have with him, even though he's not here.
yeah, that's so sick.
And cliche, but it's true. Once you can find the inner peace in where you're at in your life, you understand.
Right. And when you said, do you feel like you can't do obnoxious things now?
No, I do. Like I do the most stupid. Like, I'm the weirdest. I'm one of the weirdest people. Like, you're so weird. I'm like, yeah, and
Great.
right.
I love that.
Things out
I
of
love that.
context, and people just like, why do you say that? I'm like, I don't know. I just said it. I speak out loud sometimes.
No, I love that. That's
Cool.
because what I've been trying to do with this message is talk about surrounding yourself with the people that are meant to be in your life by yourself. So when I did that values review, which was very much a structured thing, it wasn't like I just kind of stumbled upon it. I realized I judged other people for being fake, but I was being fake. And it wasn't like I was being fake in a way that I was judging everyone else for being, but I was being fake in the sense of like I was being a different version of myself to be what, like we said before, be what I thought other people wanted me to be. So I love that you're saying like you do weird stuff, because weird stuff is cool stuff to your people. That's what we need to remember. It's like there's people who love your weird stuff, right? Like I remember when I took this corner in my dating journey where I was like, I'm not going to give up, but I'm going to stop trying. And I started showing up to dates with a skateboard, or showing up to dates just in a totally different energy than I was before, and less trying to put myself in a box of what they wanted, and instead showing up as who I was and seeing what the reaction was. And it's funny because I thought I'd get hurt by the rejection that I was going to feel. But every time someone said, hey, probably not for me, I was like, awesome. Like, we have this decision way earlier, but also that means I know you're not for me because you don't like my cool shit, my weird shit.
That's
So I
that's
love that.
that's the essence, and that's the piece. It's like having the acceptance in yourself to not care what they think, and that's, I guess, that's the moral of your story, is like not having to worry about it. And now you've got this new strive to not care. It's good. It's
Yeah.
definitely it's a great thing to have. Now, I know you're not like, you're sort of divulging into this journey, into this personal stuff, and it's still learning for you. But I always
Yeah.
like to shout out to people that come on the podcast. I mean, where can people find you? What's your socials? What do you do?
So what do I do? I am a corporate, what do we call them? If I was a Ken doll, my Ken would be spreadsheet. Spreadsheet Ken. So that's what I do. That's how I earn my bacon. But what I love doing is writing. So I have been writing as much as I can. I've always been a writer in the sense that it's been cathartic for me, and I've
Yep.
enjoyed spending my time doing it. But I think I didn't lean into it as much as I do now, because I was almost felt guilty for that self-indulgence. And
Yep.
now I'm just indulging myself and writing as much as I can. So yeah, my Instagram's probably where the best place to find me. It's my name, Sarah Van Eck, under
Yep.
here.
Cool.
Um and yeah, I'm working on the book that'll be coming out next year. So it's just been an awesome journey of like clarifying my thoughts, because I have so many of them.
Yep.
But how do you put them in a cohesive way for people to understand them? Which is similar to how you're doing your podcasts, right? You're trying to
Cool.
share ideas. Yeah,
Awesome. Well,
Instagram's probably
Instagram, Sarah Van Hike. Thank you for coming on. And those listening, please like, share, comment your key takeaways, and be sure to watch another episode. Thank you again.
Thanks so much, Carl. Love it.